After viewing this video, you'll be able to position your roof on top of your house and transfer the plan view geometry to an elevation view. The first thing you'll want to do is draw a perfect 1 foot by 1 foot square, and you can do that by drawing 4 separate lines or by using the rectangle tool. Drawing with 4 separate lines at 1 foot each is an easy way to do it, but probably not the fastest. The fastest method is with the rectangle tool. Click on the rectangle tool or type the term rectangle into the dynamic input and then hit the enter button. Place the first point of your rectangle anywhere on the screen. Now, if you look down in your command line, you'll find several options: area, dimension, or rotation. Notice the first letter of each term is blue, indicating that you can type that letter into dynamic input and enter that specific drawing mode. You can also click on the term itself to enter the mode. Now, either type the letter D or in dynamic input or click the term dimension in the command line. Move the cursor back into the drawing field if it is not already there, and notice what the dynamic input is stating now. It says specify length of rectangle, so enter the value of 1 foot and press enter. Dynamic input now tells you to specify the width of the rectangle, so enter the value of 1 foot again and press enter. Be sure you move your cursor away from the new square and click the left mouse button to escape from the tool. Select the square and find the tool up in the Modify panel of the ribbon and click it. Select one of the corners of the square, typically the closest corner to where you want to place the square, as the base point. The square is now attached to your cursor. Move the square to a corner that you would like to use for positioning the roof. Make sure the base point for which you are moving the square snaps to the reference geometry at the corner of the structure. Now, if you have not done so already, turn your roof into a single block. Go ahead and pause the video and do that. Now, select your roof. Move the roof using the corner that you can snap to the 1 by 1 square. So, like this design, I place my square at the northeast corner. So when I move my roof, or even better yet, when I turn it into a block, I'm going to make the northeast corner my insertion point, or base point. Now, move the roof as one piece and snap it into the northeast apex of the 1 by 1 square, and you have placed your roof. The next step is to transfer the geometry of the roof to the elevation views. I recommend turning off a few layers, primarily your electrical layer and dimension layer, so you can clearly see the roof geometry. Navigate to the Layers panel in the ribbon. Click on the Layers drop-down menu and then click on the light bulbs next to Electrical and Dimensioning Layers. The roof geometry is now much easier to discern. You can turn off the other layers if necessary. In the Draw panel, click on the Draw drop-down menu. You can hover over the tool icons in the menu and an identification and instructions will eventually pop up. You want the construction line tool just like you used before when you were drawing the elevation views of your walls. Work with one view at a time and draw construction lines that mark all the geometric features such as the ends, corners, ridge lines, and apexes. After establishing all the construction lines for the south elevation view, go to the elevation view itself and click on the line that represents the top of the wall and activate it. In the Layers drop-down, select the roof layer to reassign the line to that layer. Find the endpoint grips of the line that you just reassigned and extend each side to the furthest left and furthest right vertical construction lines. Next, we need to represent the fascia of the roof line. Click on the Offset tool or type Offset in the dynamic input. Enter a value of 6 inches for offset distance. Press the Enter key and select the roof line to offset it to the upward direction. Now you can trim the outermost construction lines and select the line segments inside of the fascia at each end and reassign them to the roof layer. Now we need to establish our roof slope by using the rise over run method. Remember that rise over run means that the slope rises a predetermined measurement above the run at a predetermined length. In almost all situations, the run of a roof slope is 12 inches. We will set the rise for 6 inches, so we will have what they refer to as a 612 rise over run. To establish this, we draw a couple of construction lines using the standard line tool. Go ahead and set your active layer to roof. Type line in dynamic input or select the line tool from the draw panel. Set the start point of the line at the top left corner of the fascia. Drag the line slightly to the right and type a value of 12 inches into the dynamic input. Now drag the line slightly upward and type a value of 6 inches in the dynamic input. The end point of the 6-inch vertical line represents a point for which the slope should pass. Press the Enter button to get the line tool to reactivate. Place the start point of the top left corner of the fascia like you did before, and draw the line to the end point of the 6-inch line. Do not click to place the next point, just lock onto the end point. Jot down on a piece of paper the angle of the slope, which should be 27 degrees. All of your slopes should be 27 degrees. Next, we will go ahead and draw the first slope. Start the line tool. Establish the start point of the line at the top left corner of the fascia and draw diagonally up and to the right past the construction line that marks the west apex of the roof. Press the Tab key to select the angular value box on dynamic input. Type in 27 degrees. The west slope of the roof is now established. Now we know where the main ridge line of the roof will be. It will be at the intersection of the west slope line and the west apex construction line. If we look at the plan view of the roof, in this example, we can see that the main ridge line runs a steady elevation to the east apex of the roof, marked by this third construction line. So from the intersection of the west apex and the west construction line, I will draw a horizontal line across to the east apex construction line and stop. From here, all I have to do is continue my line down the east slope of the east top right corner of the fascia. Notice that it is at the same 27-degree angle as established on the west slope. Now, what about these other construction lines that mark the setback of a wall and the ridge line of my gable in the front? From here, what I do is draw another line from the gable apex, which is marked by this fourth construction line, down to the intersection of the second construction line and the top of the fascia where the setback is marked. After establishing the second point, I continue a vertical line down to the bottom of the fascia to indicate the setback of the fascia itself. Next, I go back to clean everything up by creating my gable rakes, removing the fascia lines between the rakes, and creating a couple of boxed ends for the gable rakes, which I will show you in the finished product. Okay, so here we go. This is the finished product. Notice that I removed the lines that were in here that marked the fascia going across the front of the house because I wanted a gable end on this part of the house, on this extension of the house. And so basically I just recreated those fascia lines up here to reestablish that. And then I also put boxed ends, which is very typical of a gable design, on both sides. And I know this is this one is probably going to be a lot simpler than some of your roofs are. So if you need some help with any of it, let me know. I will come around and help you with some of the more complex ideas that some of you have created.